My name is Randy Bigley. Now it's time for You and Me and Philanthropy, right?
Yes. We created that last time.
We
Me
did.
And Philanthropy.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
I think
it might be catching.
Yeah, so this is our second one. Of course, the first one we just
Yes.
kind of introduced what was going on.
Yep.
Now you've brought a guest. Amber Wertman from the United Way is with me, by the way. So go ahead.
Yes. Hello, everybody. United Way is back here at the radio station. A shout out to Randy and Claudia and the team. They always treat us really good, and this is a fun time. So thank you for letting us spend some time talking about philanthropy and giving back to your community, which is what United Way is all about. As you know, our tagline, Live United. If anybody wants a t-shirt, we always have the Live United t-shirts, so just get a hold of me. I wanted to first talk, before I introduce my guest today, a little bit about what's going on at our office and at United Way. So most people know, we fund a lot of really good community programs in the areas, our bold goals: successful children, healthy families, and self-sufficient residents. And so those programs, this time of year, they reapply for funding for the next calendar year, and which ours goes July to June. But the applications open April 24th, so less than a couple weeks. Just wanted to give a shout out if you are out there listening and you are part of a nonprofit, and even if you're looking for maybe a small grant that's, maybe not, you just want to kind of dip your toe in the water a little bit, see what it's like to be a partner. We have those opportunities too. You can go to our website, unitedwaynco.org, or call our office, 740-383-3108, and any of the staff can help if you want to apply. So it's an exciting time for us because we spend all year doing the campaign, which is now up to almost 95%, by the way.
That's
so we're
great.
super close. We actually have a big event planned in June, which I'll probably talk about next month, that's going to really get us to the goal, we know for sure. So we're excited about that. We appreciate the community support, all the donors, whether it's individuals, businesses, industries, that all come together and allow us to be able to fund over 40-some programs, which is great. So that's exciting. So this is the time of year we celebrate what's come in and what we've been doing for the communities that we serve. So, and again, in addition to Crawford, we also serve Marion and Wyandotte County. We have a lot of great partnerships with United Ways all across the state and the nation. So even if you're listening and maybe you used to live here, but you've moved somewhere else, there's probably a United Way where you live, and you can designate your donation right back to Crawford County.
Really? I didn't know
so,
that.
Yeah. So we usually don't talk about that a lot, but it just kind of came up. So I'm reminding everyone, if you do live pretty much anywhere, also in the world, I mean, there are a lot of United Ways even worldwide. And so, so if you're somewhere else and you just want to designate through your company's campaign, or you get something in the mail from your local United Way, you can call them up and ask them about designating to us. So that is appreciated.
Here's a question I don't know if I've ever asked you. Can you designate a special agency you just want to donate
You
to?
can, yes. So there's so many of them that we have a write-in section now. So if you are a part of, I know you're on the Salvation Army board, so I hope that's okay if I give that as an example.
That's fine.
If you're filling out your pledge form for United Way and you would like yours to go to your local Salvation Army, you just write that in on your pledge form, and all of the pledges are processed in-house at our office.
Wow, okay.
Doesn't go anywhere else. We enter them ourselves, and so we are able to, in our software, enter those designations, and we can run a report at the end of it and see how much each organization got designated money.
Great.
So then it goes twice a year, goes then back to the organization you chose.
So say I wanted to donate to American Red Cross. You can send it
yes,
that way. Okay.
Yes, and they're a partner agency, and that's, they're always on the list too. So that's a good question. Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
The only other thing I want to mention before I introduce my amazing guest is that right now our big exciting thing that we have going on is the Living Local, Giving Local raffle. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this.
Oh, good. I knew you have, because we probably sent you a press release or something about it. So I'm just going to kind of read this. We have a little, for those watching, they probably can't see, but I have a little card here with a QR code on it. And you can go to our website and any of our social media pages, United Way, North Central Ohio, to find this as well. Help us celebrate small businesses across Crawford, Marion, and Wyandotte counties while helping the community. you can use a QR code or the link on our website or social media to win $1,000 in gift cards from local restaurants, shops, salons, and more. The drawing's held May 17th, and all proceeds do benefit our programs and to getting to that final 100% of the goal. So for only $5, just $5 an entry, right?
Really?
So
Yeah.
you pay $5, I recommend 20, then you have 4 entries. Hey, who doesn't just throw out, here you go, here's
Right.
a 20, right? It's easier. So, you get those entries, and then we have one of those, what do you call them, the auto generators that are all online now, where you put in all the names and then it automatically draws it.
Yeah, it randomly picks it.
Randomizer. That might be what it's called. Good job, Randy. I knew you'd know that.
We use those. It's a randomizer.
Yes, exactly. So they're all entered. We have them all in a big Excel spreadsheet based on how many, entries you purchased. For $5 and a chance to win $1,000 in items, that's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure to tell that. So again, go to our Facebook, our Instagram, our website. I'm going to leave one with Randy in case somebody calls and asks here or anything. Make sure you enter your entries as well. Test it out for us, Randy.
And you can scan the QR code too,
You can
right?
scan it. Yep. Super easy. Super
cool.
easy. So, okay. And with that, I want to leave some time to really kind of go back to our Me And Philanthropy. A big thing at United Way is investing. We do have endowments at all of our local foundations, but we also have some investments in just some other accounts and maybe stocks or insurance things that donors have left to us, which we are extremely grateful for. But, I know just enough to be dangerous about that stuff. So we need some really good financial advisors. We have several that we work with, but today I wanted to bring Lisa Bush. She is I'm not going to get your title right, so I'll let you.
Just Vice President Wealth Advisor at Alluvial Private Wealth.
Ooh, that's good. So she is, as she said, with Alluvial Private Wealth. They're based out of Marion, but she does serve all 3 of our counties and has clients really across the state, I think.
Absolutely.
And she has just done a lot. The reason that I really have enjoyed working with Lisa is she also has a focus on just women in philanthropy as well. And statistically, and I know we're going to talk about a little bit of stats and data from Giving USA, which tracks philanthropy across the nation, but typically, Randy, I don't know if you knew this, but the women are usually the decision makers when it comes to what charitable gifts and donations to give. Did you know that?
I can see that, yes.
It's like we tell them what to do or something. And I mean that in the kindest way. Obviously, both men and women, professional jobs, entry-level jobs. I mean, what I really like about Lisa, in addition to the work you do with Alluvial, obviously the company's great, but you yourself just make it so easy to understand. You really advocate for women in donations and philanthropy, but then also just that, anyone can give. I mean, I think a lot of times we think it has, oh, well, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not in a position where I can start an account or, we just think we can't do that. But that's really not the case. So I'll let you introduce a little more and kind of prep this. I know you have some stats and things, but that's what we'd like to talk about for the remainder of our time together, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That sounds
Lisa.
wonderful. Thank you, Amber.
Yes.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. And I just, on behalf of Alluvial Private Wealth and myself, just say it's a privilege to be a Bold Gold champion for the United Way of North Central Ohio.
That was bad of me. I should have led with that.
Oh, no.
The company is a Bold Gold champion, which you too could be as well.
Yes,
just give our office a call. Yeah.
Yes, nice plug in. Absolutely. And we appreciate all of the support that you give, our community. And you just mentioned, giving grants to just a partner who maybe they've never worked with you before, and don't let that, cause anybody to shy away, because there's all levels, and so I would encourage people to reach out to Amber and find out more about that. But it's a pleasure to be here. I do have a heart for philanthropy, and I was sharing with Amber earlier. I recently read a study. It was a 2021 study on philanthropy, and it reported reported that nearly 90% of affluent households gave to charity in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow.
And that is significant.
Yeah.
That is significant.
That's
but
great.
I also thought was interesting, the top 3 charities were, and this is in order, basic needs, which I know a lot of your partners are.
Yeah. We used to call it like the safety net services.
Yes,
I
there
mean,
you
those
go.
are things that you just, everybody needs,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's important. The other is religion, our local churches, which do so much in our communities as well, but also education.
Yeah.
So a lot of donors give to their universities or, their local community colleges and so
Scholarships too, right?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, a lot of that, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff.
So interesting. Those were the top 3. And the report also noted that more and more donors are giving, using giving vehicles such as charitable gift accounts or donor advice funds as well. And, Amber had mentioned about different ways to give through investing, and a lot of investors, if you are an investor and you do not have a charitable gift account and you're interested in one, I would encourage you to talk to your financial advisor about that. There are many ways that you can do that. You can simply, donate a gift. You could have an appreciated stock that may have some significant gains, where if you were to realize that gain, it could be a large taxable event. Instead of doing that, you could donate that to a charitable gift account, minimize your tax liability, let it to continue to grow in that account, and then use that as a source to give donations to your favorite charities. So there's many things that you can do to help minimize taxes and help grow your funds as well, so that you have more to give.
Yeah, this is so interesting. This is why I wanted to bring Lisa on, because I think we make it seem so complicated, but there's just so many of these little things, just little tweaks you could make.
Absolutely.
That really are impactful.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
If you want to be intentional about giving, you're right. There are many simple ways that you can do that. I would just encourage you to plan ahead and think about, what are your favorite local charities, and how do you want to maximize, the funds that you do have that you can set aside for your donations, and look at just the different tools and resources available to maximize the ability to give.
I mean, this makes me think about, we have several families, gentlemen who have passed on long ago, but we are still benefiting from their generosity, and they started accounts just like you're talking about that now come directly to us. And honestly, that's how we're able to, not spend as much on, that money can be used for salaries. Like people talk about, what's your administrative cost, and, how much is really going to the organization? Well, for us, because these folks had pledged in the past and then created these endowments, now we're still benefiting from them in various different ways. Some come through banks, some come through advisor funds, some come through foundations, but they're all still helping us to carry on the work today, years and years later. Which is really cool.
It is really cool.
And since Randy and I are big history buffs, we appreciate that, that legacy. Then you learn about their family and why they chose to give to it. It's just really cool that their story lives on through that.
Yeah, because there was a passion. There was a reason, there was a story, an experience, or there's a reason why they designated those funds to leave that legacy. And to that point, the study also reported that wills were another vehicle that many people chose to give, where, they just wanted a percentage of whether it was their estate or their assets, their liquid assets, to be given to certain charities. You can do that even with your life insurance policies.
Oh, really? Okay.
Many people will maybe designate 10% or 20, 25%, or maybe, even 100%, whatever percentage that you would like to leave. You can list a charitable organization as a beneficiary as opposed to an individual.
That's great. See, even most everyone has some type of life insurance, hopefully, in one way or another. And that's, again, something you just don't think about.
Right,
want to think about that sometimes, but I mean, I think it's
a great way to leave a legacy, and
exactly.
to know that you can continue giving even once you've passed away.
Honestly, makes it even a little easier to maybe have that conversation. It's like, wow, I am telling my story through that gift.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
and
cool.
It's a powerful thing. Yeah.
Now, I know you probably have some other stats, but I wanted to mention one of the questions we talked about is, and a lot comes up today about social responsibility, right? So like, what I'm investing in, I want to be socially responsible with how I invest in that gift. Is that something that
I would like to share. It's interesting, and this is a great segue, because this particular report on philanthropy also noted that they had found donors participated almost twice as much in impact investing, which is socially responsible investing in 2020, 2 times as much in 2020 than their prior study found in 2017.
Interesting.
And so this impact investing, socially responsible investing is on the rise.
Yeah.
And Amber and I had talked before about, all of the different terms when you think about socially responsible investing.
It's a mouthful.
Yes. And so we'll just say SRI, socially responsible investing, or there is ESG. I'm sure you've heard that acronym, and that is environmental social governance. There's impact investing. You may have heard of biblical responsible investing. There's values-based investing, and it all really comes down to that. It's just investing in alignment with your values and what means the most to you.
Sure.
I'll give you a couple of examples. For ESG, for example, environmental social governance, that would include, think about energy consumption or human rights, health and safety of employees of a company, or diversity at work. Those are issues that are important to an ESG investor. And these issues are measured to determine whether a company is in alignment with ESG standards. And so if you hear of, this company is an ESG company, they've met those standards, and they've prioritized, energy consumption, human rights, health and safety of employees, and so forth, diversity. Which is important. Biblical responsible investing is similar to socially responsible investing, which really is avoiding what you're not in alignment. So if you're against tobacco, you don't want to invest in maybe Philip Morris. If you are against alcohol, maybe you don't want to invest in Budweiser. Or if you're against manufacturing of weapons, and so on. So that would be an idea of what socially responsible investing may look like. And then impact investing focuses on companies that are making big impacts in the world. And this could include philanthropy or volunteerism or just, quality of life in general, making sure that communities have clean water and clean air and so on. So a little bit of variety and the different types of somebody might say sustainability, but it's all making sure that we're, improving the lives of our communities.
Well, I love that breakdown because I think we just hear that ESG and everybody gets real it must just, it's just this. And to hear that simple breakdown of, it's all very individual, actually.
It is, very much so.
I mean, we all have a choice on what we choose to give and invest in, and this just really breaks it down in a nice way.
Yeah, it really does. And so when you hear those terms, you may associate it, with something negative or positive. Like you said, you could have a tunnel vision about what that might be, but it really is investing according to your values, and that can look different for many, many people. I want to share one thing. You think about, as an investor, many people will talk about, what's the best stock to buy, or, trending right now, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or even artificial intelligence. So all of those are kind of, atop of the mind here when you think of investors and, what's the best stock to get into. But also think of it as, okay, investing in alignment with your morals and values. And that can really give you peace of mind because you can feel good about where you're putting your money and what you're profiting from. And also, it can be relatively safe when you think of, comparing it to maybe like cryptocurrency, because a lot of the socially responsible investing companies have higher standards. And so in that sense, you can also feel good that you're not investing in something that's necessarily high risk.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I mean, even on a very, very smaller scale, our United Ways, we have to have annual audits. I mean, we're not making millions and millions, but we still have to have through what used to be GuideStar is now Candid, and that's a really good place for folks to go check up on their local nonprofits, because we have recently become a platinum nonprofit through GuideStar, but it is only because we had to meet a lot of extra requirements.
Yes.
So from a nonprofit standpoint, that's an easy way for folks listening to kind of get started, like, oh, I'm hearing what Lisa's saying, but what do I really know about the nonprofits I support? You can go to that, just Google search Candid or GuideStar, and it'll come right up. So anybody can have access to looking that up, which is a nice place to start. And then you can call Lisa. And
that's right.
She can take you to the next step.
Right.
That's right. A couple other things I wanted to share, thought you would be interested in, is socially responsible investing. It's growing among younger investors. Over $12 billion went into SRI funds, socially responsible investing funds, in 2020 alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there are experts that are forecasting that socially responsible investing will be a $50 trillion field in the next 20 years. So I don't see this going away anytime soon. This is something that, in all honesty, technology has given us the ability to do this. Because we have screening tools, to help us to determine, what companies are profiting from tobacco, or what companies are making impacts in our community. And when you think of impact investing, a lot of, I think of one ETF that comes to mind, which is a biblical responsible investing ETF, and the symbol is BIBL, which is appropriate. But they focus on going into third world countries and digging wells so that small villages have the access to clean water.
Sure,
And so, and maybe you don't think about that, but you are also, as a philanthropist who is looking to be charitable and to give into your local communities and the local nonprofits, and you're investing, you can be charitable as well.
Right.
And making sure that you're investing in companies that are making a difference in the world around us.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think that a couple things with that, we read a lot of articles about just, philanthropy and giving and how people give. And it resonated with me, that stat about the new up and coming young professionals really getting into that. And I think it's because this particular article I read said they're a lot more about the data. Like, what are you really doing? They want to see.
That's correct. Yes.
It's not, so it kind of broke down, this particular article broke down each generation and kind of what they're looking for. Is it like a feelings based? Is it a legacy thing because my parents did? Is it, the data and I want to see what they're really doing, or do I want to be a part of it? And so that stat really aligns with some of the academic studies and articles that are out about how generations give, different generations give. Which no way is good or bad.
It's just
they're all
different.
good, and it's just how we come, how we arrive at the giving, right?
Well, and we have avenues now that we didn't have before.
Exactly.
And so yes.
Well, that was the other part. It made me think, even in the United Way world, now that we use a lot of online tools to give, you can give to any 501c3 in the world. You could just, with the click of a button, give overseas to something where that wasn't
as
just
easy
didn't
to
happen.
do. It didn't happen before. So, absolutely.
But we still advocate to give local. There's plenty of needs here.
Yes.
Give
but
local. But you could do both, right?
Right, sure.
Yes.
So that's good. That's good stuff.
And I'm glad that you shared that, because the study also talked about the importance of being able to identify. You need to be able to identify what do you value. What is important to you, and then you can from there narrow it down to, okay, then what companies do I want to support? What companies do I want to invest in? Where do I want to profit?
Ooh, I think that just gave me an idea for our next. Me and Philanthropy, we can talk about how do you identify your values.
Yep, that's a really good.
We're so hustle bustle. We were talking about this before we started. It's go, 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 and now we're back on all these events, and we're loving it, right? But at the same time, you sometimes don't have quiet time to just focus on, okay, what am I doing? Why am I really doing this? what is my core value? So that might be, maybe that'll be our next topic.
Yeah. And how do I want to spend my time?
Yes.
And how do I want to spend my money? And so that all goes hand in hand. It's important.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I know we could probably keep going on all day.
Yeah,
Is there
absolutely.
Randy's only going to give us a certain amount of time
Absolutely.
here.
Well, I will you go ahead. I was going to say
Please as we kind of wind down, like what else do we need to know, or what other stats can we be thinking about?
So a question that is asked a lot when it comes to socially responsible investing is, can I expect the same kind of performance, investing in SRI or ESG, whatever you want to call it, funds, as opposed to just traditional investments. Okay, it's just a traditional investment strategy, and all investors, want to maximize returns over a period of time.
Good point. We all still want to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. We all, that's the whole reason that we're investing, and so it's really no different. SRI investing is no different than traditional investors. We all want to maximize, not only financially, but also we want to maximize and impact, our society and the world around us for the positive. I would say when it comes to performance, it varies, just like a traditional investment strategy. It really comes down to your asset allocation, your risk tolerance, your time horizon. So it could be a mix of, bonds and mutual funds and individual stocks. All of it can vary. Now, studies have shown that you can see a lot of ESG or SRI funds perform as well and maybe even better than traditional investments. And so in the past years ago, there was a big, worry about that, where I would say today, not as much, because their performance is as good as a traditional investment. And I would also go on to say that a lot of the socially responsible investing funds are also in those traditional ones as well. And I can give you another example. You and I have talked about an ETF, SHE. The symbol is SHE. And so this particular EFT invests in companies that is looking to promote women in the executive level. It could be on the board, or it could be senior management. And so they've identified companies, and some of those companies I'll share with you. If you could look this up, anybody can look this up. It's public information. You can just Google SHE ETF, and it will tell you some of the top holdings, some of the top companies in that ETF. Is Amazon, it's Apple, it's Microsoft, it's Visa, it's Cisco, and there's many, many more. And so those companies have declared that they're committed to being intentional about making sure that they have a diverse workforce, at the senior level. And so if that is important to you, then that might be an ETF to consider. And before actually we met this morning, I looked up and noticed that this particular ETF is up 5.7% year to date.
Hey, all right.
So
I know, because you and I, when you and I had talked about it, Lisa, it was and we talk a lot about diversity, but any company or organization, there's that diversity of thought even.
Yes.
We just all come at things, and especially issues, impact that we're trying to make, we all come at it in a different mindset even.
Yes.
So even just to have that diversity of thought, I thought it's
so important.
It's really, really neat to think about, if we're all just open and have civility. We all need to be open-minded and have the conversation, but somebody could experience something differently, and the way we arrive at it could be like, I didn't think of it that way. And we do a lot of that with United Way and our collective impact, but that's why I appreciate you bringing that up too, because I think it's neat that you can carry that over into your philanthropy.
Yes, so, absolutely. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, definitely an added value. I'll share one other ETF, in which you and I have spoken about it before as well, and it's a company called Strive Energy, and the ETF symbol is DRLL, and it only invests in energy companies based out of the U.S. And so, my hope is the different ETFs that I've shared with you today, is there's a variety out there, right? And no matter what your value is, whatever priority that you have or what's important to you, there is an investment out there for you. And so I would encourage anyone who has an interest in making sure that the money that they're investing is in alignment with their values. Maybe you meet with a financial advisor if you haven't already, or you could do some research yourself on your own. A couple of ways that I will mention is a lot of companies have declared their commitment to whether it's impact investing, socially responsible investing, and you can find it usually on their website or in their mission statement. And if it's a mutual fund, you can actually go to the mutual fund company, and that particular fund will declare what that mandate is, and they will spell out exactly what they're prioritizing. So you can do a little bit of research on your own and find out what companies that may be alignment with what's important to you, and there's a lot of options available to choose.
That's even just a good reminder for do your research, people, right? I mean, it doesn't take just but a couple more clicks to really get to that, .org or that company, the corporation's website to just dig, don't just see it on Facebook and think it's true. Go actually do your own research. We say that in the nonprofit world a lot too, because there's a lot of misconceptions on social media. But in addition to it just being really cool that there are lots of funds that can cater to whatever you're looking for.
That's right.
It's also a good reminder to, that's part of finding, I think, what your core value is digging deeper and doing a little more of that research, which is great.
Yeah. And I'll mention one other tool. Morningstar is a tool that we use. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a third-party financial research company that we will use often to look at mutual funds. So they would give a mutual fund company anywhere from a 1 to a 5-star rating, 5 being the highest, the best, and 1 being the lowest. And they rate based on their peer group. So, one particular fund that we like is a balanced fund. It's the Hartford Balanced Fund, and Morningstar has given it a 5-star rating based on its peer group. And so over the years, it has performed well, and they look at other criteria as well. But they also now have done this with ESG or sustainability rating, I should say. And so instead of using a star, they'll use a globe. So because there's a global impact. And so same thing, 1 to 5, and 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. And there are a lot of companies, not all, but a lot of companies that you may find a ESG rating on. And one example, Apple, I looked up before we met today, has 4 globes. And it did show one of the reasons why it probably could be a 5, and it's not, is because of supply chain issues. And a lot of that, has to do, frankly, because a lot of their product is made in China.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of, the human rights issues, that China deals
Oh,
with.
interesting. So that Morningstar, you said?
Yeah, it's
okay, so
Morningstar.
that's a good one. I wasn't familiar with that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't either,
Yeah, the only other thing I would add as well is I think that this is, as more and more investors are interested in socially responsible investing, and more companies recognize this, right? And so they're being intentional, and they want to commit to improving the world around us in many ways. And so they want to be able to measure the differences that they're making so that they can communicate that to the public. And that is a process. There's still a lot of companies that are trying to be able to measure this data, so that they can determine, have they met the criteria? Do they meet the standards? And if so, what level? Are they a 1 globe? Are they a 3 or a 5? And so that's still a work in progress.
This is so neat how much of this correlates to just even what we do at United Way, because we, knew several years ago we needed to start measuring more too. And it is hard to get to that place. So how do you do that? And you have to be really consistent and intentional about it. So we adopted results-based accountability. I know both of you have seen our Clear Impact. We have a scorecard on our website that's probably similar. I mean, it's, smaller version, but similar to how you would track performance of any type of program. And you can see those tools on unitedwaynco.org as well. We're trying to keep up with these big companies, but it's hard. It's hard, but it's important to show those outcomes, which is cool.
Yeah, it is. And
that's good.
And I will, if I may, just give a disclosure that the companies that I mentioned today, I am not in any way saying that I'm endorsing. I'm just letting everyone know a variety of options that are out there based on whatever your value may be that you could potentially consider, and there's so many more. And so I would just really encourage everybody that, to consult with an advisor, because everybody has their own unique goals and their financial situation. It varies, and so it's important that you're meeting with somebody that can help based on what your financial outlook may be.
That's good. So you heard it here. She's not endorsing them personally. And I should say again, too, I appreciate that you mentioned whoever your financial advisor might be. Because as you know, we, United Way, we have a lot of investors and people that we work with, too. And, giving them shout outs and hearing from them. So, I just appreciate you coming in and Alluvial being a bold goal sponsor and just your focus on that, what's your core value and the diversity. And so whoever it is that might be trying to find what they want to support, you really laid out some easy ways to start doing that. So that's cool. So I appreciate you coming in. And I feel like I said cool a lot today. Help me with that next time, Randy.
I will.
I have to find a different word, I guess. My public speaking classes would not be happy right now.
So now I'll be counting your cools every time.
I know. I'm like, I got to change that word. But no, seriously, thank you for coming in. I think this is a great kind of first segue into our You, Me And Philanthropy conversations and reminders about United Way, and anybody we're bringing in just really is a generous supporter of United Way. And so again, we thank you and Alluvial for that, and all of our other donors and investors that work with us.
And speaking of Alluvial, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Thank you very much. They can reach me by phone at 740-244-8818. That's my direct line. Or they could, long email address, email me at lisa.bush, B-U-S-H, at alluvialprivatewealth.com.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And we're going to share this out on our social media and so it'll be on Crawford County Now, as well as United Way North Central Ohio site, and I'm sure Alluvial can share it too. And we'll make sure to send out some of your contact information too on our site.
And before we go, if someone's interested in more information about the United Way,
as always, get a hold of myself or my team at unitedwaynco.org. You can call our office 740-383-3108, or you can email me. It is a little shorter than that. Amber at unitedwaynco.org.
All right,
Randy, we always appreciate you and the time you give.
I appreciate both you guys coming in. Thank you so much.
Yeah, until next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.